Imagine a year where nothing exists outside your own mind and actions. A year where the clamor of the world, the whispers of others, and the ceaseless demands of society no longer pull at your attention. You dedicate this entire span not to fleeting pleasures, not to the praise of strangers, and not to the pursuit of material wealth, but to the deliberate cultivation of your inner self. This is not a retreat into solitude for avoidance, but a conscious engagement with the most profound task a human can undertake, mastering your own mind. Epictetus once reminded us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Imagine the liberation that would follow if every thought, every habit, every reaction were observed, questioned, and refined. For a year, you would begin to notice the invisible chains that bind most people. Their minds, like untrained gardens, are overrun with weeds of anxiety, fear, envy, and endless comparison. Marcus Aurelius reflected similarly, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. In this dedicated year, your life becomes a laboratory. Each day, each hour, each conversation is a chance to examine your impulses. Why does anger rise? Why does desire chase you so relentlessly? Why does sadness linger? These are not questions meant for avoidance or mere curiosity. They are the instruments of transformation. You begin to see that most suffering originates not from events themselves, but from the interpretations imposed upon them. As you observe your thoughts with relentless honesty, a quiet strength emerges. At first it is subtle, almost imperceptible. You notice a small pause before a reaction. You catch a judgment forming in your mind and hold it at arm's length. You begin to see that your sense of urgency, your need to prove yourself, your craving for recognition, these are not necessities. They are choices, illusions that dissolve under scrutiny. With each conscious breath, each deliberate choice, the armor of social expectation falls away, and what remains is your true self, resilient, clear, and free. Time itself takes on a new quality. Days that once blurred together are now precise and meaningful. Every hour is a teacher, every moment a test of your resolve. You realize that life, when stripped of distraction, is neither short nor long. It is measured by presence, by awareness, by the depth with which you inhabit your own being. As Epictetus instructed, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Each morning you articulate a vision, not for wealth, fame, or comfort, but for inner harmony and mastery. Each evening you reflect, sometimes with satisfaction, sometimes with humility, always with commitment. This journey is not easy. The mind resists because it thrives on chaos, on stimulus, on the endless chatter of what others think. But as you persist, a remarkable clarity develops. The noise of life fades, social pressures lose their grip. The fear of judgment no longer dictates your choices. You learn to walk in the world without being consumed by it, to engage without surrendering your inner freedom, and slowly, imperceptibly at first, you become the observer and the actor simultaneously. You respond rather than react. You act from principle rather than impulse. And with this disciplined focus, the year transforms you from someone scattered and reactive into someone composed, decisive, and profoundly aware. By the end of this year, the transformation is unmistakable. Others may see changes in your demeanor, calmness, confidence, and quiet authority, but the real revolution occurs unseen within. Your thoughts no longer betray you. Your emotions, once wild and unpredictable, now serve you. Your actions are aligned with your values rather than external pressures. This is the reward of dedicating a full year to yourself, the liberation of the mind, the cultivation of virtue, and the emergence of a life lived with purpose and clarity. As you move through this year, something remarkable occurs. The trivial concerns that once occupied your mind lose all power. The gossip, the endless comparisons, the desire to impress or be noticed, These dissolve when measured against the weight of self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Each day, as you turn your attention inward, you confront the raw material of your own thoughts. You see them not as immutable truths, but as malleable tools to be shaped and refined. With patience, you dissect habits, examine impulses, and confront the shadows you have long avoided. The first months are the most challenging. The mind rebels against such sustained attention. Old comforts, distractions, and addictions appear irresistible. Yet, the very act of noticing your resistance is itself a victory. Epictetus reminded us that pain is often the mind's teacher. It shows where our freedom has been compromised. When irritation arises, when fear grips, when frustration surfaces, these are the opportunities to practice wisdom. Each moment of discomfort becomes a chance to test your discipline, to choose virtue over convenience, to cultivate calm in the face of turbulence. Gradually, the rewards of this inward focus compound. Decisions that once required effort become automatic, grounded in principles rather than whims. You act not from panic or desire for approval, but from a clear understanding of what is good, just, and necessary. Life's storms, once terrifying, now pass with minimal disruption, for you understand that no external circumstance has the power to truly harm the soul. What once demanded energy, anger, envy, anxiety, now dissipates like smoke before the wind of reason. Yet, this journey is not a retreat from the world. On the contrary, it equips you to engage with life fully and wisely. Others may continue to chase approval, wealth, or fleeting pleasures, but you act with clarity and purpose, unshaken by their turbulence. In conversation, you listen deeply. In decision-making, you act decisively. You become a beacon of steadiness, a presence that does not bend to chaos or distraction. Marcus Aurelius captured this essence. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Each challenge, each difficulty is transformed into a means to reinforce your strength and resolve. Over time, you notice a profound shift in your perception of time. Hours once wasted on meaningless pursuits now expand with depth and significance. Reflection replaces reaction. Deliberation replaces impulse. Life, once a series of chaotic events, becomes a canvas on which you consciously paint each stroke. You understand that a single year of focused attention on the self is not merely about personal growth, it is a reclamation of the very nature of your existence. And as the year deepens, you realize that the transformation is not a temporary change, but a foundational shift. The mind that once scattered like leaves in the wind now rests like a lake at dawn, clear and unwavering. You are no longer at the mercy of fortune, opinion, or circumstance. You have cultivated the most valuable skill a human can possess, mastery over oneself. This is the gift of a year fully devoted to introspection, discipline, and the deliberate shaping of character. Consider the extraordinary freedom that comes from understanding yourself fully. When you dedicate a year to observing and refining your own mind, you begin to see the illusions that govern most lives. The need for validation, the fear of scarcity, the constant clamor of desires. These appear not as necessities, but as distractions, preventing you from living in accordance with reason and virtue. Epictetus teaches, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Every day you commit to your own attention, this freedom grows incrementally, imperceptibly at first, then undeniably. You start to notice the subtle ways your mind betrays you. A thought of anger arises, and instead of reacting, you pause. You recognize the moment of choice, to surrender to the impulse or to act with reason. A fear of failure surfaces, and instead of allowing it to dictate your action, you observe it, question it, and let it pass. With each moment of mindful intervention, your inner life becomes a fortress of clarity. You begin to understand that freedom is not a gift from circumstance, but a product of intentional thought and disciplined action. At first, this focus may feel lonely. The world outside seems loud, urgent, and indifferent. Friends, family, colleagues, they continue to chase distractions, wrapped in the same illusions you are beginning to see. Yet this solitude is not emptiness, it is the fertile ground for transformation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own mind. Within this retreat you engage in constant dialogue with your principles, weighing each choice against reason, each reaction against virtue. Your mind, once restless, begins to align with the order of nature itself. As months pass, you notice a remarkable shift in perspective. External events, criticism, failure, rejection, no longer sting as sharply. The judgments of others lose their power over your inner state. You discover a new resilience, not born of stubbornness or denial, but of understanding. You act in the world from calm, deliberation, not reactive emotion. Your actions become intentional, measured, and aligned with your values. This is the essence of Stoic practice, the cultivation of a mind that remains steadfast, regardless of the turbulence outside. With this discipline comes clarity about what truly matters. You begin to separate the ephemeral from the essential. Pleasures fade into insignificance. Approval becomes irrelevant. Possessions are understood as tools, not sources of happiness. Your life contracts into the simplicity of what is necessary, meaningful, and worthy. Your control. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, receive without pride, let go without attachment. By focusing inward, you learn to embody this principle, freeing yourself from the burdens that enslave so many. The more you focus on yourself, the more your inner compass sharpens. Decisions that once seemed complicated now resolve with ease. Priorities that once seemed scattered now converge. You begin to live in harmony with nature's order, with reason's guidance, and with virtue as your constant companion. And as Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Each day is a deliberate step toward the person you aspire to be, each action a reflection of conscious intention rather than mindless habit. By the time the year is nearly complete, a subtle transformation has taken root. Your mind, once prey to chaos, is now a steady harbor. Your emotions, once unpredictable, now serve as instruments of discernment. Your attention, once scattered, now penetrates to the heart of matters. You have not only survived a year of self-focus, you have learned to inhabit your own life with courage, clarity, and serenity. As the months unfold, you begin to recognize the illusions that have dominated your life, the constant pursuit of pleasure, the desire for recognition, the endless comparison to others. All of these become transparent when viewed through the lens of deliberate self-examination. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." With a year of unwavering focus on yourself, you discover that suffering is rarely caused by external events. It is generated within by unexamined thoughts and uncontrolled impulses. The liberation comes from mastering this inner world, where reason and virtue govern, not chaos and desire. You start to perceive each day as an arena for practice. Every conversation, every action, every decision becomes an opportunity to exercise restraint, wisdom, and discernment. You notice when pride attempts to dictate your behavior, when impatience stirs, when fear threatens to cloud judgment. In those moments, you pause, you reflect, you choose the path aligned with your principles rather than the path demanded by habit or society. This conscious discipline cultivates a mind that is calm yet alert, composed yet responsive, a mind that embodies the Stoic ideal. The first months are often the hardest. Old habits resist change, distractions call loudly, the allure of comfort tempts continually. Yet with consistent effort, a remarkable shift occurs. The mind begins to organize itself around clarity and purpose. Decisions that once felt confusing now resolve with certainty. Emotional storms that once overwhelmed now pass without leaving residue. You understand that freedom is not the absence of difficulty, but the mastery of one's own responses. Epictetus reminds us, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. This year of focus becomes a laboratory in which every challenge is an opportunity to practice this truth. As the months progress, you experience an inner refinement. The unnecessary noise of the world fades, social pressures, cultural expectations, and the constant pursuit of trivial desires no longer dominate your attention. Instead, your life begins to be shaped by deliberate choices: what is essential, what is virtuous, what aligns with reason. You discover that power resides not in wealth, status, or the approval of others, but in the capacity to govern your own mind and act with integrity. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves constantly break. It stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." You embody this strength, becoming unshakable in your inner life while engaging with the world intelligently and purposefully. By mid-year, your perception of time transforms. Minutes and hours, once wasted in distraction, now carry weight. Each moment becomes a chance to examine your thoughts, refine your actions, and live in accordance with your principles. Reflection replaces reaction, discipline replaces habit. The mind, once scattered, now operates with a precision born of repeated practice and constant observation. Epictetus teaches that the goal is not merely knowledge, but action informed by knowledge. You act not impulsively but thoughtfully, allowing wisdom to guide even the smallest choices. As your attention to self deepens, you notice a profound emotional shift. Fear diminishes because you understand that the world's events do not dictate your well-being. Desire diminishes because you recognize that true fulfillment comes from virtue, not external objects. Anger diminishes because you see its futility and the harm it inflicts on your own mind. What remains is a quiet strength, a steadfastness. Hat allows you to navigate life with grace, resilience, and purpose. By dedicating a full year to yourself, you achieve something few ever do: mastery over the most important domain in life, the self. You discover that happiness is not a gift of fortune, but a product of reason, reflection, and deliberate choice. Each day becomes a testament to this practice, each challenge an opportunity to deepen it, and each action a reflection of your inner transformation. As the year progresses, you start to perceive the subtle patterns of your mind. Thoughts that once surged uncontrollably now reveal themselves as signals, guiding you toward understanding rather than action without purpose. You begin to differentiate between instinct and reason, between fleeting desire and enduring value. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Each day becomes a practice in aligning thought, speech, and action with this principle, so that your life moves in harmony with virtue rather than chaos. You notice the deep currents of emotion that have shaped your decisions for years. Anger, envy, and impatience surface, but no longer dominate you. You observe them without judgment, understanding their source, their triggers, and their futility. Epictetus reminds us that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. This realization begins to liberate you. You respond to life with calmness rather than impulsiveness, with clarity rather than confusion. Your inner dialogue becomes measured, intentional, and guided by wisdom. The clarity you gain reshapes your perception of success. Where once you measured accomplishment by wealth, recognition, or applause, you now measure it by consistency, by virtue, by the degree to which your actions reflect your highest ideals. The noise of society, its praise and condemnation, loses its grip. You discover the immense freedom in living according to your own reason, unshaken by the opinions or expectations of others. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth succinctly. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. This year of focus teaches you to prioritize the inner voice over the external clamor. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, your attention to self begins to reshape relationships. You engage with others not from habit or social obligation, but with genuine awareness and presence. You listen fully, speak deliberately, and act with consideration, yet without surrendering your autonomy. The world no longer drags you along passively. Instead, you interact with it from a place of composure and intention. This is not arrogance, but mastery, an understanding that the foundation of effective action lies within. Time, which once seemed fleeting and uncontrollable, now reveals itself as a resource shaped by conscious choice. Each hour spent in reflection, each decision made with deliberation, each habit cultivated through discipline, compounds into profound growth. You see that a single year, when devoted entirely to the self, can transform the trajectory of a life. The person who emerges from this period is not only wiser, but steadier, not only aware but resilient, not only present but powerful. In these months, the distinction between superficial desire and genuine need becomes unmistakable. You see clearly what is essential and discard what is not. Pleasures that once seemed urgent now appear trivial. Fears that once seemed threatening now appear transient. This clarity becomes a shield, allowing you to act decisively, to prioritize the enduring over the ephemeral, and to navigate the challenges of life with a mind anchored in reason rather than swayed by circumstance. By dedicating this time fully to yourself, you cultivate a life that is intentionally examined, rigorously disciplined, and profoundly free. You come to embody the essence of Stoic wisdom, a mind guided by virtue, a heart untouched by external chaos, and a spirit resilient in the face of inevitable change. This year of focus is not merely a passage of time, it is a transformation of being, an awakening to the power of self-mastery, and a profound testament to the human capacity for growth, clarity, and inner peace. With each passing month, you begin to understand the subtle power of self-observation. The mind, once restless and easily swayed, becomes a landscape you can traverse with awareness. Thoughts arise, emotions surge, yet none dominate you unless you allow it. Epictetus reminds us, keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. This awareness transforms how you navigate the world. The opinions, judgments, and expectations of others no longer shape your inner life. You act in accordance with reason, guided by principle rather than impulse. As you continue, small victories accumulate. A moment of patience in the face of irritation becomes a triumph. A deliberate choice to speak truthfully when it is difficult becomes a triumph. Choosing restraint over indulgence, reason over impulse, presence over distraction, these become habitual. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every challenge encountered in this focused year becomes a tool for strengthening discipline and cultivating resilience. Obstacles are no longer inconveniences, they are opportunities to practice virtue. You also begin to witness the transformation in how you perceive life itself. Once, events seemed random and often cruel. The world felt uncontrollable. Now you see patterns, causes, and consequences. The chaos of life does not diminish, but your ability to navigate it grows. You act with clarity, knowing that external events are neither good nor bad, only your judgment renders them so. Epictetus instructs, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Each day, each encounter, each thought becomes a test of this wisdom, and each success reinforces the mastery of your inner world. The value of solitude becomes evident. Alone with your mind, you confront your true self, without disguise, without pretense. This solitude is not loneliness, it is freedom. Marcus Aurelius noted, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own mind." In this space you examine the roots of anger, fear, and desire. You identify patterns that once controlled your behavior and begin to replace them with habits that serve your growth and tranquility. By dedicating a full year to this practice, your character is refined and your mind becomes a sanctuary of peace and clarity. Over time, the mind that once scattered like autumn leaves in the wind now holds focus like a steady flame. Distraction loses its power, and each day carries purpose. You begin to see the impermanence of trivial worries, the fleeting nature of approval, and the futility of comparison. Instead, your attention concentrates on what is eternal: wisdom, virtue, and inner freedom. Every action, word, and thought is measured against these enduring values. This consistent practice deepens not only your understanding but your experience of life itself. By the 6th month, you notice a profound shift in relationships. Interactions with others are no longer dictated by habit or emotion, but by intention and awareness. You listen more deeply, speak more thoughtfully, and act with greater deliberation. Others may still chase approval and distraction, but you navigate these dynamics with composure and insight. The mind that has learned to govern itself does not become rigid or isolated. Rather, it engages the world with clarity, empathy, and purpose. As you continue down this path, the rewards of sustained self-focus compound. Emotional turbulence diminishes. Clarity of thought grows. Decisions once clouded by fear, desire, or impulse now emerge from a calm, reasoned space. You discover that the true measure of life is not external achievement, but the alignment of mind, character, and action. This year of self-focus is a journey not just of growth, but of profound liberation, the liberation of living consciously, fully, and in accordance with nature itself. As the year progresses, you begin to perceive life with new clarity. The distractions that once consumed your attention, endless comparisons, the desire for validation, and the pursuit of fleeting pleasures start to fade. Epictetus teaches, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. You come to understand that the mind cluttered with desire is a prisoner, while the mind focused on what is essential is free. Each day of deliberate attention on yourself deepens this freedom, revealing the simplicity and power of a life lived intentionally. You notice your reactions changing. What once provoked anger now merely passes, like clouds drifting across a clear sky. What once ignited fear now appears as an opportunity to act with courage and reason. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. With each passing day, you embody this truth. The external world continues in its usual chaos, but within, you cultivate a steady harbor. Your mind becomes a place where reason reigns and virtue guides every decision. The practice of observing your thoughts and emotions becomes second nature. You recognize when desire rises and choose restraint. You notice when impatience surges and respond with patience. You detect when pride threatens to dominate and act with humility instead. Each choice becomes a conscious exercise in self-mastery. You discover that freedom is not given, it is claimed through consistent practice, through the persistent shaping of your own mind. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. This year becomes a testament to that principle, as every day reinforces the sovereignty of your inner life. In this process, you begin to perceive a profound shift in how you engage with the world. Social pressures, external expectations, and the endless chatter of others lose their authority over your choices. You act according to reason, guided by principles rather than impulses, by virtue rather than desire. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." These words resonate in every action, shaping your conduct and creating a life that aligns with your highest ideals. Over time, the experience of living intentionally deepens. Moments of silence become powerful tools for reflection. Solitude is no longer a void but a space for growth. You learn to measure the weight of each thought, the significance of each decision, and the impact of each habit. Epictetus emphasizes the value of focusing on what is within your control and letting go of what is not. By applying this principle consistently, your mind becomes a sanctuary of calm and clarity amidst the unpredictable currents of life. As the months unfold, you notice the subtle effects of this discipline on your emotional life. Anxiety fades because you understand the futility of worrying about events outside your power. Anger diminishes because you see its destructiveness and choose reason instead. Desire weakens because you discover that fulfillment is found not in possessions or status, but in virtue and self-mastery. The mind, once chaotic, now exhibits a quiet strength, capable of responding to life with wisdom rather than reaction. By the 7th month, you realize that this journey is not about escaping the world, but mastering your engagement with it. You act with awareness in every interaction, every choice, every pursuit. The principles of Stoicism become embodied, not just studied, guiding your speech, your actions, and your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. You understand that true power is not domination over others, but mastery over self, and that each day of focus brings you closer to this truth. By dedicating a year entirely to yourself, you begin to cultivate a life of intentionality, resilience, and profound clarity. The mind that was once pulled in every direction now stands firm. The emotions that once dictated behavior now serve reason. The distractions that once dominated life now hold no power. Each day, each decision, each moment of reflection reinforces the transformation that this year of focus brings, a transformation not visible to the eyes alone, but evident in the depth, strength, and serenity of your being. As you enter this stage of your journey, a profound awareness of choice begins to emerge. You recognize that every moment presents a decision to act according to reason or to react to impulse, to pursue virtue or chase distraction. Epictetus reminds us, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This year of focused attention is not a theoretical exercise, it is a lived, breathing practice. Each thought examined, each habit refined, and each emotion observed becomes a step toward embodying the Stoic ideal, a life guided by wisdom, anchored in self-mastery, and resilient in the face of inevitable change. The clarity that develops is subtle but transformative. Where once your mind was scattered and restless, now you notice space between stimulus and response. You pause before speaking, before acting, before succumbing to desire or fear. In this pause lies freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Each day this insight becomes your guide." Life is precious not because it is long, but because it offers the chance to act with reason and purpose. The longer you focus on yourself, the more precious each conscious action becomes. You begin to see how external chaos no longer dictates your inner state. Criticism loses its sting. Rejection fades in significance. Loss and disappointment are no longer tyrants, because you understand that your true wealth lies within, in the cultivation of virtue, clarity, and self-control. Epictetus instructs, it's not events that disturb people, it's their judgments concerning them. This is a profound realization. The storms of life may rage around you, but your mind becomes a harbor of calm, anchored in reason, guided by principle, and unshaken by circumstance. The discipline of focus reshapes not only your mind but your perception of time. Moments that were once squandered now carry weight. Each hour spent in reflection, observation, and deliberate action compounds into mastery. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Confine yourself to the present." By dedicating a full year to self-examination, every moment becomes an opportunity to refine thought, strengthen character, and align action with virtue. Time is no longer your enemy, it is a tool, measured not in wasted hours but in mindful engagement with the essence of life. With this clarity comes a redefinition of what matters. Desire for fame, wealth, and approval gives way to the pursuit of excellence in thought and action. Pleasure becomes secondary to the cultivation of character. Fear loses its power because you recognize it as a judgment, not a necessity. The mind grows strong by exercising restraint, observing honestly, and acting consistently with principles rather than whims. Each day of focused attention builds resilience, transforming you into someone unshakable, capable of facing life with courage and serenity. As this year deepens, the effects ripple outward into relationships, work, and daily life. You interact with others not out of compulsion or ego, but with awareness and integrity. Actions become deliberate, speech measured, and presence grounded. Marcus Aurelius teaches, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. You embody this maxim not merely in thought but in conduct, in every choice and in every encounter. Others may not understand the transformation within you, but its effects are evident in your composure, clarity, and unwavering focus. By now, the practice of focusing on yourself has revealed its most profound truth. The power to live well resides entirely within. You cannot control the world, nor should you try. But you can govern your mind, direct your attention, and choose the quality of your response. Epictetus says, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This year-long dedication to self-examination transforms theory into practice, thought into action, and potential into reality. You become the architect of your own life, crafting a mind and character resilient, clear, and free. As the year advances, you begin to perceive the subtle patterns of your own behavior, like a cartographer mapping an unknown terrain. Each habit, each thought, each impulse becomes visible under the lens of attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own mind. This retreat is not isolation, but mastery." You begin to understand the distinction between what is within your control and what lies beyond it. The world continues in its turbulence, but you no longer surrender your inner peace to its whims. Each decision, each response, is filtered through reason, clarity, and the commitment to virtue. You notice the illusions that have guided so much of your life. The need for recognition, the fear of scarcity, the compulsion to follow trends, all begin to appear as distractions from what truly matters. Epictetus teaches, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. The insight is liberating. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that freedom is not found in external circumstances, but in the governance of your own mind. Each hour of deliberate observation, reflection, and action compounds this understanding, building a foundation for a life of unwavering resilience. By now you have begun to see the subtle strength that comes from restraint. Where before anger surged, patience now arises. Where fear once dictated behavior, courage now guides. Where desire once distracted, focus now prevails. Marcus Aurelius reminds us the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Each challenge, each difficulty, each frustration becomes an opportunity to exercise the principles you are cultivating. The mind, disciplined and aware, transforms obstacles into instruments of growth rather than sources of suffering. Your perception of time deepens. Hours no longer blur into one another. Every day becomes a deliberate act of living, every moment a chance to refine thought and behavior. Epictetus urges, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. You see that life is measured not in years or events, but in the quality of attention, in the alignment of action with principle, and in the depth of self-awareness. The year you dedicate to yourself is a concentrated period of mastery where each day compounds into profound transformation. Relationships begin to shift in subtle but meaningful ways. You engage with others not from habit or compulsion, but from awareness and presence. Conversations are no longer reactions to social expectation. Actions are not dictated by desire for approval. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." You begin to live this maxim, observing your own faults while responding to the world with compassion and clarity. The inner freedom you cultivate allows you to participate in life fully without being consumed by its chaos. As months continue, emotional turbulence diminishes. Anxiety, once constant, now appears as a fleeting cloud. Anger, once overwhelming, now passes without imprint. Desire, once insistent, now bows to reason. The mind, disciplined and steady, becomes a sanctuary of clarity and resilience. Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By focusing entirely on yourself, by observing, reflecting, and acting with conscious intention, you claim this freedom, constructing a life guided by principle rather than circumstance. By the 9th month, you begin to understand the enduring power of this practice. It is not a temporary fix or a fleeting transformation, but a foundational shift in how you inhabit your life. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This realization, cultivated daily, hour by hour, thought by thought, forms the core of a mind that is free, a character that is steady, and a spirit that is unshakable. Each day of self-focus brings you closer to mastery, clarity, and profound inner peace. As you step deeper into this year of self-focus, a profound awareness emerges, the realization that your mind is the ultimate source of freedom and captivity alike. External circumstances may shift, fortunes may rise and fall, yet your inner state remains the determining factor of your experience. Epictetus instructs, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every day spent examining, refining, and guiding your thoughts strengthens this mastery. Each hour becomes a laboratory of the soul, where impulse is replaced with discernment, reaction with intention, and chaos with calm. You begin to notice patterns previously hidden. Repetitive judgments, unexamined beliefs, and impulsive desires stand out like shadows on a wall. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Through persistent observation, these shadows lose their hold. You no longer act as a passive participant in your own life. Each thought is weighed, each emotion observed, and each choice aligned with reason. The external world may be unpredictable, but your responses are consistent, principled, and deliberate. The power of restraint becomes evident. Where irritation once flared uncontrollably, patience now emerges. Where fear once dictated hesitation, courage now prevails. Where desire once scattered your attention, focus now directs it. Each small victory compounds into a profound transformation. Epictetus asserts, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By dedicating a full year to observing and shaping your mind, you cultivate this freedom in the most tangible, enduring way possible. As this practice continues, time itself begins to change in perception. Days no longer slip away unnoticed. Each moment carries significance. Reflection replaces impulsive action. Deliberation replaces habit. Life, once a stream of chaotic events, becomes a canvas upon which reason and virtue are applied deliberately. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Confine yourself to the present. You live fully within this principle. Each day a concentrated effort to act, think, and feel with awareness and integrity." Relationships, too, transform under the lens of self-mastery. You engage with others, not out of need for approval, nor fear of judgment, but with clarity, compassion, and intention. Conversations become meaningful, actions deliberate, and presence conscious. The world does not control you. Instead, you navigate it with discernment and equanimity. Epictetus teaches that focusing on what is truly your concern frees you from being entangled in what is not. This freedom allows you to participate in life fully while remaining undisturbed by forces beyond your control. The inner emotional landscape begins to stabilize. Anxiety diminishes, no longer feeding on imagined scenarios. Anger wanes, its intensity replaced by reasoned observation. Desire becomes measured, guided by purpose rather than impulse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Through this disciplined focus, your thoughts, once scattered and reactive, now align with reason, virtue, and clarity. You create a mind capable of navigating life with resilience, wisdom, and profound serenity. By the 10th month, the effects of a year of self-focus are unmistakable. You are no longer driven by the chaotic fluctuations of external circumstance. Instead, your inner life is steady, principled, and powerful. Each choice is deliberate, each action intentional, each thought examined. You embody the essence of Stoic wisdom, mastery of self, alignment with virtue, and the ability to remain unshaken amidst the ever-changing tides of life. This is the fruit of dedicating a full year to yourself, a mind clear, a spirit resilient, and a life lived with purpose, intention, and profound inner freedom. As you enter this stage of your year-long focus, a subtle yet profound transformation takes root in your consciousness. The restless impulses and unexamined emotions that once dictated your behavior no longer hold sway. You begin to witness your thoughts as a detached observer, understanding that they are not mandates, but signals, tools that can be shaped, redirected, and disciplined. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Each day of attention becomes a practice in exercising this principle, turning awareness into action and reflection into mastery. You begin to recognize the invisible chains that have bound your life, the need for external validation, the fear of failure, the incessant desire for comfort. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The things that we love tell us what we are." In focusing inward, you discover what truly matters, not what society demands or expects. You learn to disentangle your values from the noise of external influence, constructing a life guided by reason, virtue, and deliberate choice. The world continues in its chaos, but your mind stands firm, a sanctuary of calm amid disorder. This awareness fosters the development of patience and resilience. Where irritation once erupted unbidden, you now pause, assess, and respond with composure. Where fear once forced hesitation, you now act with courage, informed by reason. Where desire once scattered attention, focus now channels energy toward purpose and growth. Each deliberate response strengthens the mind, reinforcing the understanding that mastery over oneself is the truest form of freedom. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. The practice of self-focus becomes a tangible path to this freedom. As the months progress, the perception of time shifts. Life, once a series of hurried, unnoticed moments, becomes rich with opportunity for reflection and deliberate action. Each decision, conversation, and habit is measured against principles rather than impulse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. In embracing this Stoic guidance, every hour of the year is transformed into a building block of character, an opportunity to cultivate clarity, virtue, and resilience. You begin to understand that true mastery is not achieved in a single moment, but through the persistent attention to each moment that follows. Relationships, too, take on new meaning. Engagement with others is no longer dictated by habit, desire, or fear of judgment. You listen more deeply, act with intention, and speak with thoughtfulness. Your presence, steady and deliberate, begins to influence the world around you subtly yet profoundly. Epictetus counsels that focusing on what is within your power frees you from the concerns of what is not. By living with this awareness, you participate fully in life while remaining untouched by the uncontrollable forces that sway others. Emotionally, you become anchored. Anxiety loses its grip because you understand its origin in imagined fears. Anger loses its intensity because you see its futility. Desire is tempered because you recognize that fulfillment arises from virtue and not from fleeting pleasures. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By cultivating awareness, discipline, and deliberate action, your thoughts align with reason and virtue, forming a mind capable of resilience, clarity, and profound inner peace. By the 11th month, the transformation is unmistakable. You are no longer a passive participant in life, buffeted by circumstance and emotion. Instead, you are an active architect of your own experience, navigating each situation with wisdom, calm, and precision. Each choice reflects your principles, each action embodies your awareness, and each thought contributes to the steady cultivation of mastery. This is the culmination of dedicating a full year to yourself, the emergence of a mind clear, a spirit strong, and a life lived with conscious purpose. Free from the sway of external chaos, as the year nears its final months, a profound clarity settles in your mind. You begin to perceive life not as a series of random events, but as a series of choices that are yours to make and yours alone. Epictetus reminds us, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. You recognize how much of your past suffering arose from chasing illusions, fearing the uncontrollable, and allowing the judgments of others to dominate your inner world. With focused attention, these shadows lose their grip, leaving the mind calm, observant, and powerful. You notice the remarkable difference between action rooted in virtue and action driven by impulse. Where before anger erupted, patience now governs. Where before desire scattered your attention, purpose now directs it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Each challenge, each frustration, each unexpected circumstance becomes an opportunity to exercise the principles you have been cultivating all year. What once seemed threatening now becomes a tool for mastery. What once seemed trivial now reveals its true significance, and what once distracted now clarifies the path forward." As you continue, time itself begins to expand. The hours, once wasted in distraction or anxiety, now carry profound weight. Each day becomes a deliberate act of cultivation, reflection, and disciplined action. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Confine yourself to the present." You embrace this fully, understanding that mastery is built moment by moment, thought by thought, choice by choice. Each instance of attention directed inward compounds, strengthening the mind, refining character, and cultivating resilience. The relationships you maintain are shaped by this awareness. Engagement with others is no longer reactive or habitual. You act with intentionality, speak with clarity, and listen with presence. Epictetus teaches that focusing on what is within your power frees you from entanglement in what is not. By internalizing this principle, you are able to participate in life fully, contribute meaningfully, and yet remain undisturbed by the chaos or expectations of others. Your influence becomes subtle but profound, a reflection of the mastery within. Emotionally, a steady equilibrium emerges. Anxiety diminishes as you recognize its roots in imagined threats. Anger diminishes as you see the harm it causes to your own mind. Desire becomes disciplined, tempered by reason, and guided by purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The mind, once reactive and scattered, now aligns with wisdom, virtue, and intentionality, creating a foundation of calm, resilience, and clarity that cannot be shaken by external circumstance. As the 12th month unfolds, you observe the cumulative power of this year-long focus. The transformation is not dramatic in appearance, but profound in essence. You are no longer dictated by fleeting emotions, external validation, or trivial distractions. Instead, you act deliberately, think clearly, and respond with reason. Epictetus instructs, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This year has been a laboratory of the soul, a rigorous practice in mastery, and a testament to the human capacity for growth, clarity, and self-governance. By the conclusion of this year, you stand transformed. Your mind is calm, observant, and disciplined. Your emotions are tempered and aligned with reason. Your actions are deliberate, intentional, and grounded in virtue. You have cultivated the greatest wealth a human can possess, mastery over the self. Marcus Aurelius reflected, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. After a year of devoted focus, you embody this strength fully, demonstrating the profound liberation, clarity, and purpose that come from dedicating time entirely to self-mastery. As the year of focus reaches its later stages, you begin to see yourself in a new light. The mind, once scattered and reactive, now moves with precision and purpose. Each thought is observed, each emotion measured, each action deliberate. Epictetus teaches, no man is free who is not master of himself. This freedom, once theoretical, becomes tangible through daily practice. By devoting this year entirely to self-examination, reflection, and disciplined action, you cultivate a sovereignty over your inner life that cannot be shaken by circumstance or opinion. You notice how easily the distractions of life, once unavoidable, now fade into insignificance. External pressures, fleeting desires, and the opinions of others no longer dictate your choices. Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This insight becomes lived experience. You act not to please, not to impress, and not to gratify superficial desires, but to align with reason, virtue, and the highest principles you have cultivated throughout the year. The development of resilience becomes clear. Challenges that would once provoke frustration or fear now serve as exercises in mastery. A difficult conversation, a moment of criticism, a sudden setback, each becomes an opportunity to practice patience, discernment, and self-control. Epictetus reminds us, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Each encounter, each unexpected event, is now a chance to strengthen your mind and cultivate virtue. Your inner stability becomes a shield against the turbulence of the outside world. Time, once a fleeting river, now feels expansive and precise. Hours are no longer squandered on trivialities. Each moment carries significance and purpose. Marcus Aurelius reflected, confine yourself to the present. You live this principle fully, treating every day, every conversation, and every decision as an exercise in conscious choice. Reflection, awareness, and deliberate action compound daily, building a mind capable of unwavering focus, clarity, and presence. Emotional mastery deepens further. Anxiety diminishes because it is recognized as a judgment, not a reality. Anger diminishes because it is understood as counterproductive to reason and virtue. Desire diminishes because you realize that true fulfillment arises from within, from the cultivation of character and the alignment of action with principle. Marcus Aurelius observed, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Through persistent attention, reflection, and disciplined action, your thoughts now align with wisdom, virtue, and self-mastery. Relationships, once a source of distraction or dependency, now reflect your internal growth. You interact with others consciously, acting with intention rather than habit, speaking with clarity rather than impulse, and listening with presence rather than reaction. Epictetus advises focusing on what is within your power. By doing so, you engage fully without being consumed by external circumstances. Your presence becomes a testament to the power of disciplined self-focus, calm, deliberate, and unwavering in principle. As you continue this disciplined focus on yourself, a profound awareness begins to settle. The mind, when trained consistently, becomes a source of immense power and serenity. You start to see clearly how much of your past life was influenced by distraction, desire, and the sway of others' opinions. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By observing your reactions and refining your responses, you cultivate the freedom to act with intention rather than compulsion, to speak with wisdom rather than impulse, and to live with clarity rather than confusion. You begin to perceive the subtle patterns that govern behavior. Where before anger and irritation erupted uncontrollably, now patience and reflection arise naturally. Where before fear dictated hesitation, courage now guides action. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle, every difficulty, every unexpected circumstance becomes a laboratory for practicing virtue. Challenges are no longer setbacks. They are instruments for strengthening discipline, resilience, and clarity of thought. Time takes on a new dimension. The hours that once slipped by unnoticed now hold significance. Each day becomes an opportunity to practice awareness, reflection, and intentional action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." In this practice, each moment becomes a building block of self-mastery. You understand that the quality of life is determined not by external events, but by the alignment of thought, action, and principle. Each deliberate choice compounds, creating a mind capable of calm, clarity, and sustained focus. Relationships begin to reflect this inner transformation. Interactions are no longer reactive or impulsive. You speak with intention, listen with presence, and act with deliberation. Epictetus teaches that focusing on what is within your power frees you from entanglement with what is not. By living with this awareness, you engage fully in life without being consumed by chaos or the expectations of others. Your presence becomes steady, composed, and impactful, a reflection of the mastery cultivated through sustained self-focus. Emotional stability becomes a hallmark of your inner life. Anxiety diminishes because it is recognized as a product of imagined fears. Anger diminishes because its futility is understood. Desire diminishes because true fulfillment arises from virtue, clarity, and disciplined action rather than external objects. Marcus Aurelius observed, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By aligning your thoughts with reason and principle, you create a mind capable of resilience, insight, and profound peace. Imagine the culmination of an entire year devoted solely to yourself, an unbroken journey into your own mind, your own character, and your own freedom. You have navigated the storms of distraction, desire, and external expectation, and emerged not merely surviving, but truly mastering your inner life." Epictetus reminds us, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence encourages virtue. Over this year you have become your own greatest companion, your own guide, your own teacher. The mind that once wandered aimlessly now stands resolute, a fortress of clarity, calm, and reason. You recognize how fleeting and deceptive external validation truly is. Praise, criticism, success, and failure, all these things that once seemed paramount now reveal themselves as inconsequential in the face of inner mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. By focusing entirely on yourself for a full year, you have discovered the profound truth of these words. Happiness, freedom, and peace, were never outside you, they were always waiting within, accessible through attention, discipline, and courage. Your relationships, your actions, your decisions, all now flow from this inner mastery. You engage with life fully yet without attachment, acting with intention rather than compulsion, speaking with clarity rather than reaction, and moving with purpose rather than habit. The storms of circumstance may rage, yet the mind grounded in reason and virtue remains unmoved. Each challenge has become a stepping stone, each difficulty a tool for growth, each moment of reflection a teacher. Epictetus reminds us it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. You have dedicated a year to learning, observing, and transforming, and through this dedication you have become someone who embodies the wisdom you once sought. Now, as this chapter concludes, there is a profound sense of liberation. The mind, once restless and reactive, is now anchored in virtue, clarity, and calm. Emotions are not tyrants but allies, guiding your discernment and enhancing your wisdom. Actions are deliberate and aligned with principle, a reflection of a life intentionally lived. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. You have become the good person, disciplined, aware, and free." Before you leave this moment, consider the power that resides within you. The year you have invested in yourself is not merely a passage of time, it is the forging of a mind, character, and spirit capable of navigating life with serenity, courage, and purpose. Every day from now on is strengthened by this foundation. Every choice you make carries the weight of deliberate awareness. Every action is aligned with reason, virtue, and the highest principles you have cultivated. This is the true gift of focusing entirely on yourself, a life lived with mastery, clarity, and freedom from the tyranny of impulse, opinion, and distraction. If this message resonates with you, and you want to continue exploring the power of Stoic wisdom, self-mastery, and mental freedom, don't forget to comment below sharing your thoughts, reflections, or questions. I want to hear how you are applying these principles in your own life, and if you want to continue receiving deep, motivational insights inspired by Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, make sure to subscribe to Stoicism Notebook. Together, we will continue this journey of clarity, discipline, and profound inner growth, building lives of purpose, virtue, and true freedom.